Another Mortgage King episode here. I'm with my boy Javi. He's international. What's the Lifestyle International Realty. I actually work with a few people in there. I don't want to mention any names, but man, hopefully we'll work soon. I know that they have their, system and their lenders and all that. It's all good. I already got my footprint in there in a few places. But it's a great company, by the way, man. I did a training. Marvin let me do one of his trainings in one of his offices in, I think it was Doral.
Yeah, Doral. They just did a reopening recently, like last week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marvin was real cool people, man. Real cool people.
Yeah, he's very good. He's also very, he's like always eager to teach and eager to pass down information and help. Yeah, he's a good guy. I work with Marvin all the time because he also has an inspection company.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, so I refer his inspection company to all my clients along with others, but
Okay, real quick, what's Marvin's inspection company? How do they get in contact with him?
Well, I don't know the number off the top of my head, but maybe
go
we
ahead.
Can put
Let's
it on
read
the
it
link.
out real quick.
Yeah,
One time for Marvin, man. Show him some love.
So it's MIA Inspections.
MIA Inspections.
Yeah. And then the rep that would be in charge of scheduling this inspections, her name is Diana.
Okay, so you got to reach Diana.
Diana, and her phone number is 786-742-0486.
I hope you guys got that. If you didn't, pause it, rewind it. Big shout out to Marvin, man. So he's got his inspection.
I've been working with him, and the inspections are always we always get the report the same day, which is always important because you have those inspection periods that you want to stick by, and sometimes the negotiations don't go as smooth as possible, so you want the most time you could get.
Yeah, no doubt, man. The inspection is super important. It's not only important for the buyer, but even just to meet those deadlines, even just to get the insurance, just to make sure everything goes smooth. So definitely hit up MIA Inspections.
MIA Inspections, yeah.
I like that, holding it down for the 305, man. MIA Inspections. What's going to happen when he wants to branch out and start doing inspections in Naples or something?
I mean, I think he's because we have Lifestyle has offices all over the place.
Yeah, they do.
They're spreading like wildfire.
They're even in New Jersey.
Yeah, they have a lot in New Jersey. In Dominican Republic too, if you want to get some property in DR.
No way.
Yeah, they got one office over there. They have another one going, opening in the next couple months. I know they're looking in Georgia, Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're expanding. There's no going back.
And we're all over Florida, so West Coast, Orlando, North Carolina. We have North Carolina also.
And so let me ask you, man. So obviously there's a ton of brokerages. What made you want to hang your license and be partners with Lifestyle?
Well, my reason to go to Lifestyle wasn't necessarily because of Lifestyle to begin with. I went there to work with my partner, which is Sherry Lebowitz.
Okay.
She's a very experienced realtor, and me having, being a rookie in the game, when I first started, I wanted to work with someone that has been doing it for some time so that they could definitely, expedite my growth. And she had just moved over to Lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And, she spoke very highly of them, and she was there. So I was going to go wherever she was. Luckily, I also like the structure that they have. They have a lot of training. They have training every day if you want to train every day at a different offices.
Nice.
So yeah, there's just a lot. There's a lot of camaraderie. It feels like a family. It feels like a young company.
Okay.
Yeah, you hear all these other companies. I don't want to name any names, but the ones that have been around for a long time, I feel like they're just structured differently, and it just doesn't feel as warm.
Wave. Yeah, definitely. Lifestyle. I mean, just even the logo of them, they look like, I don't know, like they're part of the Marlins.
Yeah, it feels young. Like it feels fresh.
Yeah,
that doesn't mean that every agent is like young. I'm not young myself.
Yeah, no, I did the training. There is all type of different age groups.
It's all over the place, but yeah, it feels
just
good
even
there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it looks like you made the right moves, man, because you're crushing it now, bro.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thank you.
You're crushing it now.
So shout out to Sherry Lebowitz again.
Shout out to Sherry. Sherry, she speaks English?
Yeah, she speaks English.
All right, good, man. Because we know a lot of the agents don't speak, English.
No.
But they're good stuff, man. You made some good moves because you just got licensed. I don't want to say just got, but you haven't been in the game 20 years or anything like that.
It's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years, and you've been with Lifestyle, and now you're just crushing the game, bro. Tell me what's your routine like, because for those who don't know, I know Javi from we knew each other for a while, but recently we kind of got more connected because of the gym.
Right.
So Javi is so he also goes to Lifetime, and that's where I linked up with him again. And so tell me about what's your routine like? What makes you crush it how you're crushing it now?
Well, I got to say, I don't stop thinking about work. So, you know, even if I'm doing something else, like if I'm going to the gym or if I am spending time with my family or just doing things, I'm always thinking about work. And by work, I mean, I'm thinking about my clients.
Okay.
So I'm thinking about the clients that I have that are active at the moment, the ones that need to move by next month, the ones that need to move next year. And I just have them in my hand revolving constantly, you know.
Okay.
It's not something that takes my energy away from the other things that I'm doing. You know, I'm still present in the moment, but I kick in and out of my clients, so thinking about them. So I feel like that gives me a touch and sense of, you know, when to reach out to these clients, when to follow up with them, how much attention they want from me, how much attention they don't want from me.
Okay.
And I just get to create like this system within myself to be able to reach and be there when they're ready, when they need me, because that's what it comes down to. I feel like everyone wants to buy or sell a property at some time in their life. Of course. It's about being there whenever they're ready to do it. And so, you know, my routine, I wake up really early. I drop off my daughter at school.
Okay.
My wife is pregnant, so I let her sleep in.
Just before you go, I want everybody to know too. So his wife goes to the gym too, and the dynamic is powerful between them. It kind of reminds me of me and my wife, but his wife walks around the gym pregnant, man. So you got to talk a little bit about that whenever you get a chance. That baby's gonna be bro. That baby's gonna be so healthy. When you see it, it turns next. Everybody's like, is that lady about to give birth or something? And she's still doing real workouts.
Yeah, she
weightlifting, right? So
she does the CrossFit classes.
And she does the CrossFit classes.
Yeah, that's what she does, because, you know, she likes to go in and out. Once like a routine, like, okay, today we're gonna bang this out, done, 1 hour, get out of here.
Yeah, so the dynamic is definitely strong. So you wake up in the morning. I'm assuming you drop the kids off to school with your wife. Yeah, I drop off my
daughter. Like, no, she stays in. She stays in sleeping, yeah. And then, you know, sometimes I go back home and I'll do some work while she gets up. Then we head to the gym maybe like around 10. Sometimes I go straight from dropping off my daughter like at 6:45. I drop her off. Then I head straight to the gym, get my workout in. You know, I'll be done maybe like about 8:30, 9. I get my computer and I go to the lounge area that they have there at Lifetime, which is an amazing gym. And I just get to work there. I start touching up on clients, setting up showings, you know, looking into properties, seeing who I could reach out to, seeing how I could grow my business from that point.
No doubt.
You know, it'll take me, you know, a couple hours, maybe around 11 or 12. I'll be done with that aspect. You know, usually I have some showings. I'll knock those out. And then, you know, I head home like around 4, whenever I'm done with the showings or whatnot, whenever I'm done doing, you know, the street work. And then when I get home, you know, I'm remodeling my house.
I saw that.
Yeah. So, you know, I put on my work hat on and then I start.
What made you want to remodel the house?
Oh, man, I bought my house 2020. I couldn't have timed it any better. Like, I got right before the prices went crazy.
Right.
And the interest rate was still amazing.
Right.
But you know, in order for me to get what I wanted, I had to go all the way to Homestead, and I had to go and get, you know, something that was moving ready, but outdated, completely outdated.
Yeah.
So it's completely outdated. You know, I've been doing things through time. It had a brand new roof, which was like the main thing for me at that point.
Same situation with me, man.
Yeah. So, you know, it needed everything. I got my impact windows, I got my brand new AC, and now I have a baby coming, so it's like crunch time. I can't have a remodel going.
Right.
While the baby's here, so kind of have a deadline, and that's what I've been just trying to do. You know, knock it all out.
Yeah, the remodeling stuff is never gonna stop, bro. I bought my house. Of course, the roof was amazing. That's why it was like brand new. Everything in it it's like this thing was made in like 1950 or something.
Yeah, mine too, 1960.
Yeah, I had to. As soon as I bought it, we started the construction. It was a complete gut. My wife designed everything how she wanted to. Kitchen new. I mean, bro, everything was brand new. So that was done. I say that to say, after all that construction was done, everything was literally the backyard. Everything was done. She's happy, and then she just constantly always changing things. Hey, instead of doing this, we should put this here. That's why I always tell my people. I hear it all the time where it's like, yeah, my wife just always wants to go to Target all the time and Target this and Target that, and my wife Target. I'm like, bro, be happy. Be happy she's going to Target, bro.
And not Home Depot.
Once they find out about Home Depot, once they find out about Lowe's,
Floor in the core, oh my goodness.
It's gonna be a wrap, dog. That's it. There's nonstop.
Literally, man. I go to Home Depot like every other day almost, and it's like minimum $300. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
I went to Home Depot this morning. It was $330.
You know, I realized
2 buckets of paint.
when I was when I was doing, every time I do a remodel, whether it's a new door or what have you or whatever, my wife is like, oh, we should do something here. Even the gardening, it was like close to or more than $1,000. So now every time my wife has a project or something, I always tell her like, oh yeah, it's racks. Everything you want to do is racks these days.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, bro. We literally just got some like rocks, like tons of bags of rocks to put in this garden thing that she has now, and that was a ton of bread. I'm like, yo, for rocks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that remodeling stuff is.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
tough.
luckily, I'm blessed to have my dad, and he's not a construction worker or anything like that, but
he knows his stuff.
It's kind of like, I don't know if it's a Cuban in us. We just make it work, like we figure it out. I'm sure other nationalities do it too, but I'm Cuban, so I'm speaking for myself. Yeah, we just like, we don't know how to do it, but we figure it out, and we just been, we save a lot on the labor because. I'm spending a lot of money and it's just materials. But if we were to like hire contractors and stuff like that, it would just get out of hand.
Yeah, no doubt. Sometimes I even do the project on myself. I talk a lot about my wife who wants to do the projects and doesn't leave me alone. But sometimes I like it because I really do like working with my hands. And in the field that I'm in, we're sitting at the desk, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I go to the gym, but it's something therapeutic about just figuring something out on my own and kind of just like engineering it myself. Putting whatever it is. She wanted barn doors. I got some barn doors and I put that together by myself. And I liked it, man. I stay busy. I do it like a little weekend thing and I just stay busy. And I'm there for, just minding my business. I put a podcast on and I'm there doing my little project, man. I like it. I like it sometimes.
No, it's very gratifying when you're like almost done. Like I just got my the outside plastered and my soffits and my fascia. So now it's ready for paint. So that's what I went to Home Depot for today. But I'm excited. I can't wait to, I have some renderings and stuff, and I can't wait for it to look like the renderings.
Hey, so you're about to have a new baby. It's a boy or girl?
It's a girl.
It's a girl. How far away?
March.
In March. Oh, yeah, it's around the corner.
Yeah, it's right there.
So your hands are going to be even more full than where they are now. You're in a business that's so demanding. How do you think physical fitness, you going to the gym, how does that play a role in how to handle the amount of stress and different things that come with the business of real estate?
I think it's like it's multiple parts of it. Obviously, if you're able to put dedication into your fitness, you should be able to apply that into pretty much anything you do. Fitness takes dedication. You have to go in there, get sore. It's tiring. You're out of breath. It's work. It's work. So it builds strength within your mental strength. So you're able to apply that into anything else, any aspect of your life, especially your business. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, where there's no promised check, there's no promised muscles. You have to go work out. You have to go get them.
I like that. That's true, man. That's true.
Hey, like we don't need to work out. Like we could live our lives without working out. But like if you want to get the most out of your body, that's an exercise. You have to exercise it. The same as your brain. Anything in life that's great takes work. So if you want a great body, you got to go exercise. Aside from that, how does it help my business? I feel like appearance is key in pretty much anything you do. First impressions are very important.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's necessary for you to be a fitness model to be able to sell a property or to help a client.
Yeah.
But it's a level. It's part of it. Like I feel like a client, sees me or sees someone that, shows an effort in their appearance, they're going to, have a certain level of respect for that person.
100%.
It doesn't mean that if you do a bad job, just because you're fit, doesn't mean you're going to keep the job,
Yeah.
But if you have that as a tool, then it's definitely going to help you, keep a client or just, have a relationship. Even you get something to talk about with your clients. So I feel like appearance in this business is very important. You don't want to, you want to give off the best version of yourself. So I feel like a fit version of yourself is probably as close to that as it's gonna get.
Yeah, I agree with a lot that you just said, man. You know, I actually like going to the gym in the mornings because to me that's like knocking out the hardest part of my day. And in mortgages, I'm sure in real estate too, sometimes whenever you get thrown a curveball, things can get very stressful. And if you haven't pushed yourself to the ultimate limit already, whatever's happening in your business can seem overwhelming or hard to get past. But once I knock out a real hard workout, let's say it's leg day, and I just kill myself in the gym and then I go do sauna 30 minutes, I get out of there feeling like nothing worse can happen than what I just got out of. So whenever I get the call of that bad news or what have you, it's not as bad because I just tortured myself in the gym right now.
Right.
And so when I get out, it's easier for me to deal with the harder things or what's supposed to be hard. Makes it a lot easy. You agree with that?
Yeah,
you ever
definitely.
feel like that sometimes?
Yeah, definitely.
You push yourself to the limit, and then everything else is like, yeah, it's not a big deal. You know, we
even
if
if you're working out in the morning, I don't think you're gonna get the news so early, but maybe you got the news the night before. The bad news that you're talking about. And when you say bad news, it's like, you know, this is a business where there's gonna be a lot of hurdles. Some deals are easy. You get under contract and you close it at a blink of an eye. But some other ones is a roller coaster where, you know, they want to cancel or the negotiations don't go right.
Mm-hmm.
And they say you get the bad news at night, you wake up, you go to the gym, like you lift your weight, you're calm, you address the situation in a different mind frame, in a different wave.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's another way that, you know, fitness definitely helps my business.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That's one of my favorite things to do. Everything else is kind of easier to handle. I also always say too, you know, like we always want to help out our clients and like the best that we can, 100% help them out. And we always tell our clients, and we even tell our wives or not our wives, but I meant our wives and our children, you know, like I'm doing everything that I can for you. And I always feel like we can say that, but if you're really not as you said, the best version of yourself, how are you really giving them 100% of what you have to offer? Whether it's clients, family, or whatever it is. If you're missing the gym, not eating the right stuff or whatever, and you're getting fat, so to speak, I don't want to get canceled. But yeah, if you're getting fat and you're telling someone, I'm doing the best that I can for you, you're really not, because you're not at 100% yourself. And it also reflects on how, like, if this is how I take care of myself, how do you think I'm going to take care of you? Maybe on your side, on the listing side, when you're trying to get a listing, it's like, look how I take care of myself. You really think I'm not going to take care of you? And if someone else comes in, they're not as in shape as you. Look how they take care of themselves. Right. You really think that they're going to do everything they can in their power to have your best interest in mind. Just look how they take care of themselves. It's a huge. You agree with that?
Yeah. I think
all
so.
right.
Yeah,
okay,
for sure. I mean, I think
you go in at the gym, and I be seeing you.
Yeah, I mean, I've been working out for a long time. I'm 38 right now, and I've been working out since I was 18 on and off. So, you know, it's definitely something where I've been doing it for a long time. You know, we don't always have to start, one thing is like when we're talking about fitness, and I'm talking about, you should work out and stuff. Let's say, for example, the listeners, they're not working out.
Yeah.
Don't compare yourself to someone else.
100%.
Like when you go to the gym, don't look at the guy lifting 2 plates on a bench.
Yeah.
If you're only lifting the bar, that person was lifting the bar at one point.
Yep.
And all it took was for that person to continue to go and build up and get to 2 plates. You could do the same. So, you know, if you only go one day a week, because that's all you could do. If you really believe that, then go for it 1 day a week. But then, you know, try to build up from that 2 days, 3 days, go 5 days and just grow from it, because it's no easy task, but it gets easier with time.
Right. And it's so crazy how much fitness kind of just segues into real aspects of real life. You're doing something, you're pushing yourself, or whatever it is that that's going on with you in the weight room is the same things that happen with you in real life. The expectations of hard work in the weight room is the same in real life or in your marriage or whatever it is. It's a real reflection of what can actually happen.
I could give you an example, man. Like I mentioned, I've been working out for majority of my life. I've always been a bodybuilder kind of guy, like bro split, you know, arm day, leg day, chest day kind of person. And a couple of years back, I took on CrossFit. Mm-hmm. I was going to a gym called Nostra Fitness.
On Bird?
Shout out to them, Nostra.
It's on Bird Road?
No, that one is it's by International Mall, kind of like that area back there. Those big warehouses back there. I think Amazon's back there, by the Amazon warehouse. And you know, it was my first time I went there because a friend of mine told me and my best friend to go, and we went. And you know, when I went there, like, you know, even though I was strong in the regular gym, LA Fitness, where I was going, I went there and I was you know, a rookie.
It's a different type of fitness.
It's a different type of fitness. Yep. And, you know, like my flexibility was non-existent. I was like too tight with all the muscles. And, you know, at first I was like, oh, I don't like it. Like, you know, I don't want to do this. But, you know, I kept going and I left the regular gym. I stopped going to LA Fitness because I was like, man, like after a couple months, I was good at CrossFit. Yeah. Because I didn't quit. It was something that I was like, let's go. Like, okay, I'm not going to try to lift as much as the guy that has been doing this for years, that has the flexibility. Even though I might be just as strong, I don't have the flexibility. So I didn't let the ego control me and like hurt myself, because that's what happens a lot of times. You go to CrossFit, or, you know, I've heard a lot of stories like, oh, CrossFit, or I hurt my back, I hurt my shoulders. That's because your body wasn't ready and you were lifting with your ego. You were like, oh, that girl over there is lifting a plate. Yeah, but she's flexible. You're a man. You think you could lift more than her, but your joints aren't there yet. So right. It everything takes a building up to. Yep. I was going there, but then I purchased my house in Homestead, and that was like an hour drive. I wasn't gonna be able to continue to do that. Right. And it was a time where, you know, I was so used to the CrossFit dynamic where you go in. They tell you, today we're going to do this, and that, and then you get it done. And after that, you can hang out and do other stuff, or you could go, like your workout's done. So then now I saw myself having to go to the regular gym, LA Fitness or whatever, and come up with my own workouts and think of my routines and what did I work out yesterday. It's
reflective of CrossFit? Like you're implementing the CrossFit workouts in the gym?
No, because like when you go to LA Fitness, like the weights aren't the same. They don't.
Yeah, the bar is different.
The bar is different. You really can't. It's not as good. Like plus the CrossFit gyms are usually like no AC, outdoor vibes, and
garage door open type.
Right, and it's like you get sweaty and you get on the floor and you do all these things, and like the regular gym is like a freezer in there. So it's like it's a completely different dynamic. So. No doubt. I was just trying to like incorporate myself back into something that I have been doing for years. And it was a time where I was just like, oh my gosh, like I stopped working out because I was like, oh, I don't feel like going and like coming up with a workout and this and that. Yeah. And even though I took like you know, on and off for like a year, I was barely going to the gym, lost a lot of weight. And I was just like, you know, like this is not myself. Like I've always identified as like a gym guy, like. Yeah, Javier has always been swole, let's call it, you know. And I was like skinny, and I was just like, you know, this isn't me. And then what did I do? I just started going to LA Fitness again, and then I started building from. It wasn't zero at that point, because you know the body's grateful, you know, like it remembers muscle memory. Muscle memory, right? But you know, it was still like starting from fresh. Like the weight that I was lifting before, I wasn't lifting there because I took a whole year off, and I could have let that. You know, I could have let that whole year that I took off be the end of my gym career. Of course. Because you don't need the gym to live. But it was just something that it was like, I can't let this beat me. Like I'm going to get back into it. I'm going to get back to where I was or better. And you know, that's what I've done.
Yeah, no doubt. I think it's cool that you even decided to try something new at CrossFit, which is something that, as you mentioned, wasn't part of your regimen already. Right. You've been going to the gym for so long, and then now you're going to try something new. And I think that's honorable, because most people, even if you're crushing it in the gym, let's say you're benching, I don't know who knows, and you're crushing it in that, sometimes people get too satisfied with what they're already doing, even if it's like to the max level, to the masses. If you're like Usain Bolt and you're just the fastest and you do this specific time all the time, it takes balls for you, or a different type of passion to say, yeah, I'm better than everyone, but I'm going to do something I've never done before. Right. Which is honorable, man, because some people just don't do it. You're good at what you're at. You're better than most people at what you're at. When was the last time I was about to cuss. When was the last time you pushed yourself to do something you've never done before? And which is cool. I remember it was the same thing when I was in high school. I wrestled, and I was a wrestler, And it was a different, as you mentioned, it's a different type of workout. It's one of the toughest workouts I've ever done, by the way. When I actually did wrestling practice, I was wrestling in middle school and high school. And I mean, they were tough. Like every day it was a fight within myself to quit. And I'm dead serious about that. It was like, man, practice is about to start. Should I quit today, bro? I can just go home, bro. It was like the toughest things I've ever done before. But then midway in high school, like around 10th grade, I had a friend who was doing jiu-jitsu. And it was cool. I thought it was cool, you know, choking out, submissions, things of that nature. And I tried it, and I've been wrestling for this whole time. I've been doing these hard workouts. I do jiu-jitsu, and I'm gassed. It's a whole nother different type of element. And I'm like, bro, how am I getting this tired? I've been wrestling my whole life. But yeah, then I started jiu-jitsu because I wanted to push myself. I went all the way up to a blue belt and all that kind of stuff. After that, I just
that's
stopped.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, bringing it back to real estate, you know, I got my license about two years and some months, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before that, you know, I had a trucking company that I was working through. It was my company. I've had a trucking company since like 2017. You know, I had to like restructure it a couple times, but that's basically been my bread and butter for, you know, since 2016 until, let's say, 2022.
Trucking is competitive too, though. I know a couple.
Yeah, no, trucking is it's an animal in its own right. But you know, like that's what I've known. That's what I purchased my house. You know, that's what got me the money to purchase my house. That's what I, you know, started my family with. That's what I identified, and that's what I thought was my avenue to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see myself doing anything else. But trucking started getting bad. And trucking,
why?
Well, because I had one main account, like a gentleman that I was working with. I had like 6 trucks, and then long story short, he basically took his truck somewhere else, and then I had to like, you know, like kind of like that stumbled because that was like a big chunk of my income.
Okay.
So then, you know, I still managed because I had good, you know, I did a good job on it. So I always had like trucks coming in and out, like, oh, so-and-so told me that you're dispatching and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, come through. And we start working, and like, it always kept me afloat. Right.
Right.
But, you know, it got to the point where I was just like, okay, I need to figure something else out. But I've always thought myself like, oh, I'm not when I was younger, I tried selling Cutco knives. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Yeah, I remember that.
I tried selling Cutco knives. I didn't sell any knives.
I like that you're sharing that because I'm sure a lot of people could relate.
Yeah, I took the little seminar. They try to get you to purchase the first set so that you could show clients. And yeah, I didn't sell anything. I also tried selling rainbow vacuum cleaners. You ever heard of those?
No.
Well, it's like this vacuum cleaner that works with water, so like it doesn't have a filter, and like if it sucks the water, it sucks. You know, you suck, and it cleans the air with water, so you don't have a filter.
Okay.
Didn't sell any of those either. Actually sold one, but then the lady's son called me like, "Hey, come pick this up."
Oh damn!
Because I sold it to his mom, and he's like, "Hey man, what are you doing? Like, come pick this up." And I was like, it was like a $2,000 vacuum cleaner. Like it was.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it was like a hefty. It might have been more. I don't even remember. But you know, I always tell myself, I was like, oh, I'm not a salesperson. Like I can't sell. You know, I'm a serious guy. Like I can't sell. Plus, I don't like chasing people and stuff.
That's how we all feel when we first get into sales.
Yeah.
Because we don't understand it, right?
Right.
We go in there and we think about the person who calls us and tells us, hey, do you want to buy, da-da-da-da.
Yeah, exactly.
So we don't really know too much.
Exactly. So I always tell myself, like, man, I don't want to be nagging people and like making them buy stuff that they don't want to buy. And like, but I was like, whatever, let me try it. I see people that are making money. You know, they tell you the success stories and you're like, whoa, look at this guy. He's balling off of this. You know, like, I think I could do it. But whatever, I was just like, okay, I'm not a salesperson. So, you know, I did my trucking and stuff. And then, you know, trucking got a little rough. And my wife had her real estate license.
Okay, this is the part I'm waiting on. I want to hear how you got into real estate.
Yeah, my wife had a real estate license. And, you know, like I had, you know, we share the same office. So, like, she would be in doing her, like, team meetings through the phone, through Zoom or whatever. And, you know, I would be, like, next to her dispatching trucks. And I would always hear, you know, all the, you know, her leaders and stuff, you know, telling her and just teaching, you know, just talking real estate. Plus I saw a lot of experiences of like, you know, her dealing through deals and like all the hiccups and all the bumps and like every aspect of real estate that she was experiencing, I was experiencing at the same time, through her. So it almost felt like the right thing to do was just to get my license. So, I was doing trucking, and I took the course. I took the, I went to, what is it? Gold Coast. And I took the class. I was going at night. I passed the class test where they let you take your state test.
Right.
But again, I was still doing trucking, and trucking was it wasn't where I wanted it to be. I was comfortable.
It was paying the bills.
It was paying the bills, and I was comfortable is what I knew. Like, it was a routine. I was comfortable. So I didn't take the test right away, the state test. I kept working the trucking, and then, trucking got a little rougher. It's when God tightens you, like, hey, you got to move, buddy.
Okay.
It's time to move.
Right.
So then, it was like 6 months down the line. I was like, okay, let me go ahead. Because I always thought of myself as like not a good person to study. I don't like studying. And like, I just put a lot of resistance to studying. So I was like, damn, now I got to study for this test because like it's been 6 months. And I was just like, okay, let me take the test to see how bad I failed it.
It's been 6 months since the first test.
Since the
now
class.
It's time for the state test.
Right. I could have taken it right away, but it took 6 months because I was doing the trucking. I was like, forget it,
Right. So the momentum came down.
The momentum came down, and like I'm like, oh damn, now I got to study all this stuff again. So I was like, let me schedule it and let me take the test, see how bad I failed it to see how much I got to study, and I end up passing it.
Bingo. Yeah, same thing happened with me, man. Same thing happened with me.
I end up passing. It was a Sunday. I took it from home because it was like COVID times. And like I was just like expecting. I was like, I think like the part of the success, part of the reason why I passed it was because I didn't have any pressure on it.
Mm-hmm.
I was going through the questions, and I was just like, I had a system, and I was just going through the questions, and I was just answering them with no pressure. Like, I just want to see how bad I failed it.
Right.
I was trying, but at the same time, I wasn't trying to. I was trying to pass it, but at the same time,
you were just.
I knew that I had to study, and it was just like, this is just like to see how bad I failed.
Right, and you end up passing.
And I end up passing, and I was like, hey, babe, I passed the test. She's like, oh my gosh, and you're so smart. I was like, I guess.
No doubt.
And
what year was that?
That was 22, like late 22, like August.
Oh, okay.
August 2022.
All right.
And I was just like, I guess it's like it's a good omen as to, like this, God wants me to do this. I got my license, and then I was just like, okay, now what do I do with this thing?
Right, that's how we all feel.
What do I do with this thing?
I think the license thing is the hardest thing. Like, the license. You finish it, you feel so accomplished, and then you realize, damn, now the work is really, now it's time to do the work.
Now it's time to grind.
The license was the easy part.
Yep. So then I was like, okay, what brokerage do I sign up with? My wife was in the middle of a transaction, and there was a broker that, the listing agent was a broker,
mm-hmm.
and he had 100% commission brokerage. And I was like, damn, 100% commission sounds the way to go.
No help.
Yeah, it was basically like, meet me at the Sergio's. I went to the Sergio's. I talked to him, We had a good conversation. He's like, okay, here's the paperwork. Signed it. I'm like, all right, go sell a house.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, cool. I got my license. I'm in a brokerage.
Let
me keep doing trucking. Let me keep doing trucking. And, it came time where I was like, okay, I need to do something else with this. And I had a buddy of mine that, I known him for a lot of years. And his dad is an agent. And, I had a lot of respect for him and his dad. I used to know him because his dad used to own a liquor store, and we used to go to the liquor store to hang out before going out clubbing or whatever. So it was like, I knew the dad and whatever.
And the dad, he owned the liquor store and he was...
No, he owned the liquor store. Back then, he wasn't an agent.
Oh, okay.
But then he sold the liquor store, and then, like a lot of people, real estate is not like their main... I want to be a realtor when they're a kid, You know what I mean? It's always like, a lot of times it's like, okay, I guess I'll be an agent at this point. So he became an agent, and he was doing that. I knew that he was doing it. I didn't know how successful he was or anything, but I was just like, I know this, my friend, his dad's an agent, seems like a good person to go work with.
Right.
So I had a meeting with him through Zoom or whatever, and we discussed, that I wanted to, start working, and he mentioned to me like, hey, you could join my team, and I got this and I got that, and you could cold call all these leads and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I'm ready to do whatever you tell me. And he's like, oh, well, but you have to, if I hire you, if you come to work with me, your wife has to come too.
Oh, as a partnership? Like she has to take her license from where she's at and then come with you.
And come with me.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't think my wife's going to do that because she's already established where she's at and she has a relationship over there and she has a good thing going over there. So she's not going to do that. And he's like, well, in that case, then, you know, sorry, but I can't bring you on. And I was like,
damn.
All right.
So much for being in close relationship.
All right, bud. No problem. It like no respect. It's okay. Like I feel like he did that because he didn't want me to, you know, if I get leads and I pass them over to her and then she closes them, then I don't have to pay him. Like kind of like a conflict of interest. So I understood it. I understood from his point. No hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So then I was just like, okay, so now what do? My wife, being a showing agent for Sherry Lebowitz, in the past. And I knew that
shout out to her again.
Shout out to Sherry, goat. So she, you know, she's very established, and I knew about her through my wife. So she, you know, they had just opened the Homestead office for Lifestyle Realty, Lifestyle International Realty, and she had invited us to the grand opening at the Schnibley Winery.
Mm-hmm. I love that place.
Yeah, that place is awesome. I didn't go, but you know, it was still like, okay, I definitely need to talk to Sherry, see, you know, if I could come work with her or whatever. And she had just, you know, had the idea of starting a team. So, you know, I I met with her. I hung my license with Lifestyle. You know, we had she started, you know, she was starting the team. We had some interviews. She got like, you know, probably was like 6, 7 agents. That, you know, started, you know, with the beginning of the team.
Right.
Me being one of them. And, you know, like it was, you know, the team provides leads. At that point, it was Zillow.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we got some training on how to talk to a Zillow lead. And, you know, it was a lot of about a hustle, you know, following up with leads is an art. It definitely takes, you know, like at the beginning of the conversation that we were having, I mentioned I have like a circadian rhythm as to deal with these clients, like to know when to touch, when not to touch, how much pressure, how much not, all that. But it took a lot of trial and error to build that.
No doubt.
So, you know, the whole first half of 2023, it was a lot of failures. You know, it was no deals closed. I was still doing the trucking. Thank God I had some trucking, and like she would let me be a showing agent to you know, cut me off on some deals and stuff. You know, thank God. You know, again, shout out to Sherry.
The beginning of the grind is most people don't realize. That's why I said the license is easy, and then the beginning of the grind is one of the toughest. That's why most people never even renew their license.
Yeah,
it's great if you stick with it. Just like, again, as we mentioned, just like the gym. Yeah. It's great when you stick with it. In the beginning, man, you're going to be tired. It's tough.
That first week of soreness from the gym is insane. Bro. Like everybody, like, don't go hard the first week.
Yeah.
Don't do it, because then you're not going to go for 3 weeks after that.
Yep. And it's the same in business. Yeah. Even in business, when you slow down a little bit and you try to pick back up, you fell off so much that you can't, just like in the gym, you miss leg day for 2 weeks. You go back in and hit legs, you're going to be sore as hell again, like day one. So it's all about that consistency.
Repetition and consistency.
That repetition and that consistency, man. That's what it's really about.
Yeah. So, you know, thankfully, because of Sherry, I was able to continue to do real estate full time.
And so in Miami the whole time?
Yeah, in Miami the whole time.
Okay.
I was able to do it full time. You know, things were tight. Like, you know, definitely I was definitely not doing well financially. But, you know, she told me, you know, stick through it. You're going to do great.
Yeah.
She motivated me greatly. My wife as well. You know, she always believed in me. And she, you know, just told me, keep at it. You're going to experience a thing called the J curve. And I was like, what the hell is the J curve?
What's the J curve?
Basically, when you just like flatlining and all of a sudden you just bomb.
Oh, okay. I like that.
And she was like, you know, the J curve. And I'm like, Sherry, I don't know this J curve you keep talking about. I'm broke. Like, Sure. All right. J curve. Keep at it. Yeah. So, you know, I kept at it, and, you know, I was able to break, you know, my first deal was shout out to Chris. He gave me a listing, and, you know, that broke the ice for me. Chris was my client. Like my first listing, my first anything.
All right, big shout out to them.
Yeah, you know, my first,
Let's just do a real big good shout out, man, for everybody who was there in the beginning. If you're watching this, man, big shout out to you guys. The first people that believed in us, man, in that beginning stage. Big shout out to you guys, bro.
Yeah,
huge shout out.
It's big. And so
he gave you an opportunity to list his house.
Yes, he did. You know, I went with Sherry to my first listing presentation. I was able to, you know, commandeer it, but she was there for support and for backup.
Nice.
And then, you know, like my first 6 months of 2023 was no deals closed, no nothing. A lot of like ghosting from the clients and a lot of nothingness. But, you know, thankfully the second half, you know, I was able to do like 5.5 million my first year. And then, you know, this year I'm on track to do almost 16 million.
Nice.
So, you know, that was all out of, you know, that grind from the first 6 months built who I am today.
Yeah.
I'm able to now navigate situations a lot better. I am more resourceful, more experienced.
Yeah, if you're going to end the year at 16 million, just for people who are watching on the real estate side, that's huge, man. That's huge. And you should get your props for that. I don't know if it's you and your wife doing it together, but as realtors, most realtors don't hit those numbers. So definitely, man, the man upstairs is looking out.
No, for sure.
And you're definitely, and he's molding you into, you know, beating Goliath, man. You know, David was a willed man before he fought Goliath, and you're definitely being shaped into, you're going to surpass next year. If you're doing 16 by the end of this year, if you keep at it, keep the same habits or even add on new habits, you're going to do more, man.
Oh, that's a goal.
You're going to be top here, and you've been crushing it in Miami. You haven't expanded anywhere else, had a team anywhere else, none of that, right?
No, nothing. It's, you know, I do work with my wife. She's a key role in my business, that's for sure. My wife, Rachel.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Rachel.
Yeah, she's definitely a key role. Again, I learned a lot before I was an agent through her. Mm-hmm. And I've definitely become the agent that I am because of a lot of rubbing off of her and her support. But yeah, you know, I've sold houses. I sold a house in Gainesville, you know.
Okay.
That's another thing, you know. I don't shy away from work. I'll do showings. Today I did 13 showings to one client. I've been showing this client today since 12 until I was, you know, late to the podcast because I was running around with this client like, oh, I want to see one more house. I'm like, all right, is it available for showing? Yeah, it is. All right, like let's go.
Boom, that's the grind.
And you know, she likes one. We might be making an offer. You know, like it's work. You know, like
so. What's your approach, Javi, to client relationships? What's your approach to that? Is this, or do you like add them on social media? Do you try to get close? Is it on a case-by-case basis?
Yeah, I think it's on a case-by-case basis. I have been trying as of late to get them at it on social media. That way they could see me be active. I could see them be active. I could,
you know, stay connected.
Show interest in, you know, their life because, you know, I am interested.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, definitely that. I also try to improve every single showing, every single client interaction. Mm-hmm. I am applying things now that I wasn't applying before.
Right. That's growth.
There's just, it's just like evolution. Like I feel like I want to be the best version of a real estate agent for that client.
Oh, so that's it. You got the mumble mentality, man.
So
that's it. Once it's injected, ain't no going back.
Yeah. So I want them to have a great experience. I want them to be able to brag on to their friends that are in the same process about me. Like I had that happen actually. I was under contract with a client, and I was looking for properties or putting an offer for another client, and I get a message like, hey, I was just with so-and-so, and they were talking about their agent being the best, and I was telling them my agent's the best. Mm-hmm. Turns out we're talking about the same agent, and it's you. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Hilarious. But
that's what I'm talking about. Reputation is important, man.
Oh, it's everything.
It's literally everything. Everything is based on your reputation. So when people mention your name, how are they talking about you?
Exactly.
Especially in real estate, man.
Yeah.
Especially in real estate. So I know you've been doing this since, well, at least you crushed 2023, crushing 2024. What trends do you see? Because you work mostly in Miami.
Right.
What trends do you see, real estate trends in Miami that people should be picking up on right now, if any?
Well, I think right now the market is very, very negotiable. There's a lot of inventory. There's still buyers. I'm working with a good amount of them right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I am pretty much negotiating everything to the max. There should not be that thought that was maybe 2022, 2021, where
sellers had all the leverage.
And you would go to a house that you weren't even that interested in, and there was 3 people outside of it like, oh, I got to fight for this house I'm not even that interested in. That's definitely not the case. You could get great deals right now.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that's basically what I'm telling all my clients. Like, if you see the price is not set in stone. We could definitely get credits, get price reductions. And, I still see Florida or South Florida as, the place to be. There's still a lot of demand for, the Sunshine State.
No doubt.
So I don't think there's going to be any kind of crisis. But there's definitely a lot of room to negotiate on the prices as of right now. So I would say the buyers are in control. So, it's also case by case. Not every property is going to be the same. The demand for some properties might be higher than others.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be different scenarios that take place.
Of course.
But
right.
Definitely negotiable outcomes.
Definitely. So you're seeing a trend in where sellers are being way more lenient on either changing the sales price, giving credits, and buyers should be taking advantage of that. Is that what I'm hearing, right?
Most definitely.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing. As you mentioned, 2 years ago, that wasn't
I paid $10,000 over appraisal in my house.
Oh yeah,
my house.
yeah.
But that was a great time. Thank God I did, because 4 months later, the house next door to mine, which is not as valuable in terms of like location, it didn't have a pool, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it sold for $40,000 more than what I bought my house for. So like, it was definitely a good investment. But
yeah, no doubt.
But
speaking of investment, I didn't mean to cut you off. What was that?
No, go ahead.
Speaking of investment, you said it was a good investment. What advice would you give a first time buyer buying their first investment property? What advice would you give them?
Well, definitely have an outcome that you want detailed from the beginning. What do you want out of this investment property?
Mm-hmm.
There's different types of investments. There's going to be the fix and flip. There's going to be the person that wants to do Airbnb because you see a lot of success stories. I know Airbnb. Then there's going to be the long-term rental kind of client. Have your expectations set.
Okay, so figure out what type of investment property you want.
Right.
It's important they know that there's different kinds of investment properties.
Right, there's definitely different kinds. If you want long-term, then you might want to go for the long-term rental. And, basically, sometimes, with, the high rates these days, maybe you're able to negotiate a deal depending on your down payment. That would be something, that Geo could help you with to determine those numbers. But, the net income on a long-term rental, depending on those scenarios, the interest rate, the down payment, all that stuff, it's not going to be a life-changing amount.
Correct.
This is not going to be something that you could like, oh, that's it, I don't have to work anymore.
Pay attention. If you're watching this, pay attention, because he's dropping jewels right now. He's dropping jewels.
So, you're going to, if you're able to get something that, generates some cash flow, sometimes you're able to house hack. Maybe you purchase a single family that has a garage and you make an apartment out of it. Hint, hint, why not? Maybe you're able to maximize your net income in there. But for the most part, it's going to be something where it's going to pay itself and it's going to generate a little income that you should definitely save for whenever that tenant moves out and you're able to reinvest into the property, keep it in shape. And then, maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the line, you get on average 3% to 5% appreciation, depending on the area that you're in. Now you're able to maybe, cash out, refinance in 5 years, or sell the property for an income, and you basically, all you had was your initial investment for your down payment and closing costs because the property has been paying itself throughout the years.
Correct.
So you get your money back and then some, and you basically had, it's better than having the money in the bank for most cases.
Yeah.
If you're going to do Airbnb, make sure that you are not in a saturated area. Make sure that there's something special about the property, because again, it's one of those things where like if you're the first one, yeah, you're gonna make a lot of money but now that's like every other investor's dream. Oh yeah, I want an Airbnb.
Yep.
So there's a lot of key factors to look at. You do your research, a lot of research. And if you're gonna do fix and flips, I feel like that's gonna be where the higher risk, because it's a lot of details that go into it. The purchase price, the expenses that you're gonna have to put into it, and then the resale price. All that has to be very well calculated.
Yeah,
there has to be a good amount of margin, because life happens.
Yep.
So you need to take that into account and have someone that's going to guide you in the right path. And that would be the quickest return, but the riskiest risk is the highest risk, highest return. But that's with everything in life.
That's
higher
life,
risk,
man. Right.
Higher risk, higher return.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. There's that one thing that you mentioned that I think most people don't realize, especially first-time investors, is that if you're investing in a long-term property and you want to kind of, you see it all the time where people are talking about, passive income and all this kind of stuff. You're not going to get that in your first, second, third, or probably in your fourth property if they're investment properties, because they're generating not a ton of income as you would imagine, or as you read, or as you saw on the guy on Instagram. Most of the income, or most of the capital gain that you're going to get from an investment property is from the appreciation. The cash flow of it, it's not going to be something that's, as you mentioned, life-changing.
Right.
Most people go in and they would think that. I've had plenty of people who are first, they want to buy their first investment property. They're ready, 20% down, real investment property. And then when they see what's cash flowing, once you add in the taxes, the insurance, everything in the monthly payment, they're like, dude, I had one the other day that was only going to cash flow like $230. And I'm like, yeah, dude, well, that's just what it is.
That's very average.
Yeah,
that's very normal.
Very average. It's normal. But where your real dollars are going to come in is on the home appreciation.
Right.
It's better than, just keeping your cash in a bank account. It's going to appreciate pretty good. And you get a little extra flow of whatever cash it is, maybe a nice dinner or something.
Yeah.
But it's not life-changing. Most people go in and they think it's going to be life-changing. They're expecting, when they run the numbers, the return on investment, the monthly cash flow, to be $3,000 or something crazy. It's like, no, man, you're not going to get $3,000.
No, I mean, that'll, again, if you buy that property cash, you're going to cash flow every month, because everything, is just whatever your taxes and your insurance and everything else goes into your pocket. But if you're not there yet, then it's, it's definitely something to take into consideration. Also, another thing I want to mention is everybody wants to be a landlord, but nobody wants to deal with the landlord responsibilities.
Right.
Like, being a landlord is not an easy task.
It's not.
It's
you're a property manager now.
It takes a lot of your time. You definitely have to vet your tenants very, very closely, because having a nightmare tenant is, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it to anybody, or I don't wish it on anybody.
What are your thoughts on, since you're saying that, what are your thoughts on how people promote it? It's everywhere. You can't avoid it. Passive income. What are your thoughts on when people mention passive income? Is it really ever passive?
No, I don't think it's ever passive. There's always going to be some kind of grind or work to it. There's some that require more, there's some that require less, but ultimately I don't think it's ever 100% passive. No.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's something that's always been passed around. I've had people tell me all the time, like, oh, I need this property or that property, passive income. And I'm like, what's your idea of passive income? And they're like, dude, you just sit and you collect. That's not how it works.
No.
That's not, even if you have a property manager, that's not how it works, because now you have to manage the property manager. There's just always going to be some work. I think what most people are trying to avoid is the WORK. That's what they're trying to avoid on all aspects. If, somebody just came out with a workout program, 5-minute abs, 10-minute this, and you're back home, you're out of the gym. Like, bro, that's not how it's going to work. Most people want to avoid work at all costs, man. Well, yeah, Flaco, how much we got?
54
minutes left?
No.
Oh, I was about to say. God damn. I'm stuck in a revolving door here, Doc. No. That's good stuff, man. So what advice would you give to someone who's trying to get into the field?
Someone that's trying to get into the field, I would suggest, if the ultimate scenario would be where you're able to do it full time. So for that, you would have to either have another source of income. Like, for example, when I was doing it full time, I had my trucking business. So I was able to, pay my bills with that, and I didn't need a check right then and there.
Let me ask you, the trucking business was remote.
Yeah, I worked from home.
So it allowed you the flexibility to be full time in real estate.
Right.
Okay.
So I was able to do the showings. I was able to talk to the clients at whatever time. I was able to do whatever I wanted because I was able to, I had complete control of my time. So that would be the ultimate scenario. I understand that that's not everybody's, unfortunately, that's not everybody's scenario. So in that case, to start, you need to have another job.
Yeah.
Because you are going to, the work that I'm doing today is not going to pay me tomorrow. It's not going to pay me next week. It's going to pay me a month from now, 2 months from now. It's going to pay me a good amount of time from now. So if I don't have something closing right now, okay, so like I did work November and October, and I have something closing on the 20th of this month. So I'm going to get paid this month, but not because of something that I did this month. What I'm doing this month is for next month. And it's always you always got to be working ahead of time.
Of course.
So you definitely need something that's going to keep you alive until you get that first check or until you're able to, get a momentum going, which is key. That's another key factor of this business, momentum. You never want to have to be depending on a deal.
Oh, say it. If you could say it again.
You don't want to be depending on a deal because that just it comes through your pores.
Yeah.
The client sees it, you feel it. It's an aura. It's a vibe. Like it's unfortunate because when I first started, I was waiting for a deal for 6 months before I got my first closing. Mm-hmm. So you have to manage it, be able to control yourself where you're not because you might be desperate.
Yeah.
Let's just call it for what it is.
Yep.
The bills pile up, your credit card, your house, your food, your car.
And you want this to work.
It's all there, and it needs to get paid, and you're not getting paid because you don't have a deal closing. Mm-hmm. But you're seeing clients that have the key to your bills being paid. How do you make this person buy a house? You can't. You can't make nobody do nothing that they don't want to do.
Yep. You
just got to be there for when they're ready to do it, and they're going to do it at their own pace. You just got to be there and guide them to achieve their goals, and that's what's going to pay you. But your goal is not to sell them a house. Your goal is to help them buy a house or sell a house.
Yeah.
And that's got to be the attitude at all times in order for you to be able to be successful at it. And again, myself, I joined the team. I have to pay my team a portion of my commission. I'm not going to disclose what that is. Every team is different. Every team offers different things. But I had to pay to play.
Right.
And I'm happy. I'm super happy to pay my team because the more I pay my team, the more money I'm making. So for me I don't think about how much money my team is making, how much money, the brokerage is making. I don't care about any of that. I care about how many deals am I closing and how much of that I'm keeping. That's what I'm counting on.
Yeah.
So the more I can make my team, the more money I'm going to make. And that's a mentality. I don't pocket watch anybody else. I just worry about myself I just go at it. And then my team was able to, for a fee, provide me with opportunities. Now, it was up to me to capitalize on those opportunities. And I've, thank God, I've been able to capitalize immensely. And I will continue to capitalize. But it was the opportunities that were presented by the team that I had to pay in order to get.
I don't mean to cut you off, but you mentioned that you work with a team. What's going on in the team? So most people probably, they work with you and they think, maybe he's just one guy. He can't handle all his business and list my home. Talk a little bit more about how you actually have a team that's helping you, that's behind the scenes. Maybe they don't see them, but you got a team, and kind of like, what are their roles?
Yeah. So leverage is everything. So, you're you're only one person. The busier you are, the more successful you are, the less time you're going to have. That's just natural. But at the same time, every client wants your undivided attention. So for me to be able to give that client the undivided attention, there's a lot of other key factors of a deal, of a transaction, of that relationship that need to be attended to, that would take time away from me that I need to give to my clients. So, there is a transaction coordinator. There is, also that same transaction coordinator is this virtual assistants that we have within their team that are able to, keep up with our CRMs and send out campaigns and do that sort of thing. Also working with a great lender. That's very important because, you're only as good as your lender, and you need to have a good relationship, good communication with your lender and your team. When I mention my team, I also, I believe at this point there's about 5 or 6 agents within my team.
Okay.
So whenever I'm not available, my wife is available, and whenever my wife is not available, I'm available. So we're like hand in hand. But if I were to ever need, it happens every time. Like whenever I go on vacation, that's when my clients want to see the most houses. That's just how it is.
That's
just how it works. But I'll reach out to my team and, I'll let them know, like, look, I got this client that want to see this house, and it's someone that you trust, someone that that's going to provide great service, and then they're able to handle that business for you when you're not available.
No doubt. And that's super important, man. I just want to overemphasize anybody who's watching, man, when you're working with Javi, you're not just working with Javi. He's not, how do you call it? You walk into a restaurant, you got the waiter, then you got the person cleaning the floors, and then you got the cook, and then you got the manager. He's not wearing all those hats. It's an operation. It's an operation. So you're going in there, and you got a team that's backing you, which is, I just want anybody who's watching this to understand that you're not just a one-man band.
Yeah.
You got some help. And in real estate, you need help. That's just what it is.
Definitely.
It's always a red flag. If you're working with somebody and they're solo dolo, they don't have a team, you might have a real bumpy process.
Right.
You might have a real bumpy process.
It caps your growth as well.
And it caps your growth. How do you feel about, if you had advice for a new agent and that you notice them just like always, as you mentioned, that one deal, they're just like babysitting it from beginning to end. What advice would you give someone like that? I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. I want you to expand on that and just kind of talk a little bit about, yes, it's good to watch your file, but also go in a little bit on the dangers of it.
So you don't want to micromanage it too much. I always refer to negotiation as a dance. There's a dance aspect to it where you just can't be too aggressive, but at the same time you don't want to be too passive.
Right.
So it's almost like dancing is about timing. You got to be on rhythm. You got to follow the beat.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with negotiation. It's about timing, how you approach a situation. Sometimes I'll get an agent that's telling me no to this and no, blah, blah, blah. I could like transfer that same energy, all that negativeness that I just got is not what my client wants to hear, and I could just transfer it directly to my client. How is that going to help me? Right. It's not, because it's gonna transfer that emotion. Your job as an agent, one of your jobs as an agent, is to be a buffer. Again, you want to transfer every detail. You never want to leave your client in the dark. They need to be aware of everything, but it's about delivery. You don't want to be too rough or too soft. Again, it's a dance. So
I like that. Could you imagine a doctor? Oh, yeah, you're gonna die.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
It is.
Yeah, I mean,
you got to be a buffer. I like that.
Exactly. You got to be a buffer. I've saved deals by just basically like, I'll get the bad news and I'll say, okay, so let me sleep on it. I'm not, there's no deadline, or if there is a deadline, obviously follow all the deadlines. But like, if there's no deadline, there's no reason why I need to go and like stress my client out right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me see how I can find a solution to what they said, so that I could go to my client with the problem and the solution. And that's going to make everything a lot smoother. And
that's key, man. That's key. You got to at least have a solution if you got a problem.
Exactly.
Before you just come up to them with a problem.
Exactly. So that's part of the dance. You get the bad news. Oh, okay. You hold on to it. You figure out the timing, figure out the solution, then you pass it on to your client. Yeah. Hey, look, we got this problem, but we could address it like this. Mm-hmm. And then that makes it, that's basically your job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Problem solving. That's problem
solving.
You're a therapist. You're a problem solver. There's a lot of hats you gotta wear. There's a lot that goes into it.
The whole nine. Yeah, I like how you said that, man. There's been times where wild things have happened, even on the lending side. And as you mentioned, you got to be a buffer. And so I wouldn't even mention anything. There's times where I've just saved an entire deal, an entire avalanche that nobody had any clue about. The agents didn't have a clue. The buyers didn't have a clue. It closed on time. And it's like, man, if anybody just knew the hell that I just went through, I would never even give or pass on that hell to anybody unless like it's like to the point where it's like, the asteroid is here and we need help now.
Right. There's no other way around it. You just gotta, be, again, the dance. If you gotta be straightforward, be straightforward. But if you, there's just assess every situation as their own situation. And if you're babysitting the deal where it's like, oh my God, I need this to eat, you're gonna transfer that energy into everything you do within that deal.
Yeah, and then it becomes
when the listing agent tells you, hey, no, to where your client's asking, I need this.
Yeah.
Guess what? Your ego, you're gonna want to fight with that listing agent where, you get more with honey than with I forgot the saying, but
with vinegar.
With vinegar. So, if you're transferring that energy to them and then you go to your client and you're like, hey, they don't want to give us this, but I think you should take it because you're putting your problem onto the deal.
Right.
I know that it's tough. The bills are knocking at your door. You definitely got to address them. But
there's a lot of danger to that.
The more pressure you put into it, the more chances that it could go wrong because you're just putting extra energy and extra negativity and extra pressure where there's no need.
And you're making the clients who you're supposed to have their best interests probably make a move they shouldn't have.
Right.
Because of your own gratification.
Yeah, that's number one. Your client comes first.
Then your reputation, and then it's all downhill from there.
My thing is, again, thankfully because of my success, it's something that, even my mentor, as I like to call her, Sherry, mentioned many times. It's at this point, it's not even like a dollar amount. For me, it's more of like transaction numbers. How many transactions can I get? I'm not seeing a client as a dollar amount. I'm seeing them as I'm helping this person do this transaction. The dollar amounts are great. Don't get me wrong.
That's a byproduct.
It's a byproduct, exactly. Yeah. But it took some deals closing to get here because at one point the dollar amount was all I could think of. All I could think of. But again, you got to try to not have that mindset.
Yeah.
It's about mindset. It is about mindset.
It's
everything
about mindset.
In life is mindset.
Faith plays a huge role in that too, because even in scripture we see where the Lord is like, don't I feed the birds of the sky, and aren't you worth more than them? Like, what? Sometimes we get in positions where we think like the Lord's not going to reward us, or our fridge is going to be empty, and we're just trying to help people, and now I got to stop helping them and just think about the dollar. Sometimes we fall into that, and but yeah, as you mentioned, it spews out of you. Yeah. When you do fall into that mindset, it spews out of you, and then it could become into a dance monkey situation. Now if you're listing a home or whatever it is, hey, I'll list your home for 0.5% or something crazy, and then they see that and like, oh, I can make this guy do anything.
Right.
Dance monkey. Dance.
Yeah. You never want to be that guy.
Right.
Never want to be that guy. I had a listing presentation the other day that it was great. The lady liked me a lot. But she said that the other agent was charging her 3%. And I was just like, so what are they doing it for 1%? Because if you tell a buyer's agent that it's only paying 1%,
right,
or 1.5%, it's going to put you out of competition with everyone else that's paying at least 2% or more.
Right.
So I try to make that point to her, like, well, how are they structuring this 3%? Are they only going to take 1%? Because if I were to do it for 3%, I'm only going to take 1% because my job is to sell your property.
Right.
Again, I'm shooting myself in the foot because I would love to give the other agent 1%. But I would,
of course,
my job,
the honey and the vinegar.
Yeah, exactly. You're hiring me to sell your house. I know in order to sell your house, we need to pay the buyer's agent at least 2%. If you're going to pay the buyer's agent, you're not required to.
Right.
But if you are going to compensate the buyer's agent, the more you compensate them, it's just this competition. There's other properties are compensating more than you are, and they have agreements already with the buyer where they're supposed to be compensated a certain amount, and that puts you out of competition with those other properties. So how are they structuring that? Because my job is to sell your property, so I would take 1%. But now I'm asking myself, like, how much effort, how much drive, what's the incentive? We all do this for.
Right. Well, is this going to even get you out of bed?
Right. Exactly. Right. Do you want that out of someone? Like you want someone to be incentivized. Like you shouldn't even want to. The cheapest doesn't mean the best.
Of course, my wife always says that.
The cheapest doesn't mean it's the best. So, you seeing it as a dollar amount, But, you know, ultimately, who's going to net you more? Who's going to provide you the best service? Who's going to answer your phone call at whatever time you call?
Right.
Because, you know, the person that you're paying 1%, they might be like, oh, I'll call it tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's one thing with me. That's another thing that's gotten my success. I always pick up the phone.
Yeah, yeah. Communication is important.
100%.
It's a huge transaction.
I can't.
Could you imagine your doctor not answering his phone when your wife's about to give birth? Or just,
right.
It's like, dude, answer the phone. This is a 6-7 figure transaction, dude. Yeah. Answer the phone. I got a lot on the line.
Oh, and it's crazy because that's one thing that I've I've been an entrepreneur for some time, but you know, being in like a service industry that like real estate.
Yeah.
I deal with other like contractors and stuff, for like where I'm getting quotes for my house and stuff, and I'm just like, okay, this is what I want to do.
I already know what
Give me a quote. Okay, cool. I'll give you a quote tomorrow. It's been a week. Where's my quote?
Right.
Oh yeah, this and that happened. I'm like, okay, all right, give me the quote.
Yep.
Or I'll call and they don't answer, and it's like, man, I'm chasing you to pay you money.
Right.
That makes no sense to me,
dude. Yeah, but that's Miami contractors, bro. It's crazy you say contractors. I see it in other fields too.
No, it's a Miami contractors. It's a Miami mindset. Oh, unfortunately,
my God, dude, you gotta.
It happens with a lot of agents. Like I'll reach out.
Right.
I'll reach 100%. Out to an agent. Hey, my client wants to see your house. They don't answer the phone. They don't answer the showing requests. They don't answer text messages, and it's just like, man, you're getting paid. Like this is not a favor. Like answer the phone. Let's get this done, and that's it. And that's how I feel towards my clients. I don't like right now. My phone's blowing up. I'm like looking at it. Like,
yeah. I see.
But you know,
I ponerlo in silent. He put it on vibrate.
I wanna, you know, be able to answer them and like and reply as soon as possible, because I don't want them to even have that desire to reach out to someone else.
Of course,
that's key to business.
Communication is key.
Never give the competition an opportunity.
No doubt, communication is key. In so much that I believe that so much that every time a referral partner, a real estate agent sends me a lead or something, I would let them know, like, hey, just put us in a group chat from the beginning. And so we always communicate in that group chat. And the reason why some agents, if they're new or something, like, why would you want us in a group chat? Because communication is important.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to text me after I talk to them and, hey, how'd it go? You see everything that's going on. Right. We all got to be on the same page because, as you mentioned, either they go to someone else or even worse, the client just feels lost. Why would you want your client to feel lost? Or if there's something you can do, just start a group chat. Yeah. Do something that's effective in the communication.
Yeah, I do that as well. Yeah. I always try to get a group chat with the husband and the wife or with the lender right away.
Yeah, put everybody in there.
Communication is key, yeah.
That way something happens or, hey,
because it doesn't have to be like a middleman, because, you know, the message gets lost with the middleman. So I'd rather be direct access.
You put it in there. Hey, did you take the application? Yeah, I got everything. Just missing your bank statement. Now everybody knows there's a bank statement missing. Right. Everybody's in the loop.
You could follow up. He could follow up.
Right.
Everybody could be on the ball.
Right. And as you mentioned, if it's husband and wife, you know the wife's going to be on him. Oh, wait, did you send the bank?
Yeah, no, it's very important to have both parties involved. That way, you know, if you send the property, both parties see it. If they send the property, everybody's aware of what's going on. Everybody's on the same page.
Definitely, man. Hey, you're on the way to the top, man. You're on the way to the top.
I hope.
I just keep the faith, man. All you need is the faith. That's all you need, brother. But keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm super proud of you. You and your wife, you guys are an awesome team. Your family's growing. You got a lot of big things happening. Amen. The future looks very bright, and man, it was any lesson. How do people find you if they're looking for Javi? If you're looking for an agent who's gonna help you find that investment property, that first time home, who's gonna articulate himself well, represent you as a buyer very well. If they want to find you, how do they find you?
My phone number is 786-304-9068.
We're putting this on the internet. You want this on the internet?
Yeah, call me. I already get enough spam calls, so, you know, what's a couple? And my Instagram is Javi, JAVI_real estate. And that's for Instagram. And I believe that I got TikTok too, but I forgot what it is.
Yeah, no, I'm barely on TikTok. You got me on you got a Facebook?
Yeah, Javier Dapena. Javier, JAVIER, Dapena. The best way, DAPENA. The best way would definitely be my phone number again, 786-304-9068.
All right, my brother, it was a pleasure having you, man.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much for having me, man.
No doubt. Allez, brother. That was